The indies are coming in hot January 2025, and we have a lot of launches this week coming up, and I'm going to be showing you 3 looks with some of the newest palettes. Now technically it is 4 palettes because 2 of them are quads, but we'll get into that. So the first palette I'm going to be showing you is Morally Grey from Beaute Bar. I believe this is their first 9-pan palette, and I love to see it. I'm so excited for this one, and I did receive all of these in PR, and I do have some affiliate codes with all of the brands, so I will put them up on the screen as I'm talking through them. We have this 9-pan palette, and you can of course guess that it's going to be a cooler tone palette, and I love that. And it is aimed to be kind of like a Valentine's Day collection basically, because there are 2 other products. So here is the color story. We have a really beautiful grayish cooler toned with a pop of pink color story. Love it so much. It is so beautiful. I think it's a really nice balance of mattes to shimmers, and the pans are heart-shaped, which is very on theme, and they are magnetic. And while I think it's super cute that they match the theme, it's a Valentine's Day theme, but it's a little bit more kind of grungy, a little bit different from your typical, it's not like a true pink color story. And I do think that it's a nice nod with the pans. I kind of feel a little bit torn because you can really only use these pans in here. Of course, put them into an empty palette that doesn't have like round or square holes in it, but then you'll have round pans, maybe square pans, and heart-shaped pans. And I know mixing shapes and sizes of pans is not for everyone. And I also think if you're someone who does BYOPs with their Beaute Bar palettes, you will not really be able to do that and add these shades in there. They do fit in a round 26mm pan, but you have to kind of put them a little bit awkwardly, and I think that will also deter some people from wanting to buy this palette because of the shapes of the pan. There's also 2 highlighters. There's the Skin of a Killer and Morally Grey. Skin of a Killer may sound familiar because this shade is in the Vamp palette that launched last year, but it is in a larger, more highlighter size kind of pen, and it is heart shaped, which is super adorable. I think in this case, you know, you're probably going to be keeping these in this dedicated empty palette, and this one is a little bit more of like a mauvey, almost plum-ish pinky kind of shade, and I will be showing you swatches of both of those, and I will have them blended out so you can kind of get an idea on how they look that way. I think they also obviously make amazing eyeshadows. I've already raved about Skin of a Killer being an amazing eyeshadow, so I am wearing it right now. I do have it layered though over a Cleona highlighter, so color wise it's not fully true to color because it is definitely more of a icy kind of highlight, but in terms of shine, I mean, it is very shiny. So the next 2 palettes are from Cleona, and they're quads, so I'm going to be combining these for a look. And we have, I don't think these have separate names, but one of them is a little bit more of a greenish color story and the other one is more of a reddish color story. These are the Garland and Garden quads. So first up is this warm tone one. You have like a really almost quite vibrant, more of a reddish leaning orange and a matte peach, and the shimmers are their really beautiful smooth formula. Now none of these are multi-chromes. There is one shade which is in the green quad that has a little bit of a shift to it, which is this one right here, but it's not necessarily a multi-chrome. It's a little bit more like a duochrome. These are more wintry themed. And then the last palette is also for sure leaning towards Valentine's Day theming, and it is the Smitten palette from Dieverune Cosmetics. I'm so excited for this one because I mean the names are so cute, the theming is cute, and again it's another take on something that has the Valentine's Day theme without hitting you over the face with pink and love and kisses and hugs and all that stuff. This one for sure is for the cat lovers, and this color story is so beautiful. I love that we have all the mattes at the top and then the shimmers at the bottom. Let me tell you about these shimmers. These are so beautiful, and I will of course be showing you detailed swatches of all the shimmer shadows from all the different palettes. I'm also going to be doing some comparisons. There's also some other things in this collection, including 2 water activated split liners. I think there's like a white and pink and then another, and if I have those I will put those up on the screen for you. And then the other products that are launching are some single eyeshadows. There's 4. They do come in this compact. I do believe you'll be able to choose if you want the compact or not, and there are 4 shades and there are different levels of shifty, sparkly, and there's one shade that is called Stray Cat. It's so punchy, so beautiful. And then the other product that is launching is their Stick and Sparkle Pigment Primer. So this is kind of like a glitter glue, something for shimmer shadows. I think this will be great for all kinds of different textures, especially with shimmers that have a larger particle size. And it is white, but once you put it on, it doesn't necessarily, it looks a little bit more milky, and it is a little bit on the thicker side, and it does come with this doe foot applicator. So I will be showing you this one along with the palette. So let's get into some of the details. The Garland and Garden quads have already launched from Cleona. They're also having a sale right now. I think up to 25% off. The details are on their Instagram as well as I believe on their website. Each of the quads is $24.99 Canadian, which is about $17.40 USD. The Morally Grey collection is launching January 29th on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, and the palette will be $42. They haven't talked about the pricing for the highlighters yet, so I will put those in the description box once I find those out. It's probably going to be, I would say, around $20 is what I would assume. And the Smitten palette is launching Thursday, January 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and it will be $59 USD. And at the time I'm filming this, I don't know the pricing of the single shadows or the primer, so again, I will put those in the description box. So let's get right into the detailed swatches of the shimmer shadows, comparison swatches, 3 looks, and I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. First up are the Cleona quads. There's Tansy, Winterberry, Pinecone, and Woolly Hedge Nettle. And Pinecone is the only shade out of all 4 of these that has a little bit of a shift to it. It's a little bit more like a duochrome. And these all are super smooth formulation and very opaque. Love the red one. And this bronzy shade too, especially with the red. And then the green is so vibrant. I'm gonna add another layer to the bronze one just down here, just to kind of even it out. And then same with Winterberry. Just adding, look at that red, super bright. I think I see some really small gold flecks throughout Pinecone. I do feel like the green and the gold are a little bit more sparkly out of all the 4 shades. You can really see kind of how much more they sparkle, especially like this at this angle. These are the shimmers from the Morally Grey palette from Bella Beaute bar. I would say all of these have a slightly larger particle size, specifically Complex Motivations. The shade right here, definitely the most really just sparkly, and then Bittersweet, I think, also is a little bit on the chunky side. And Indecisive, I think, has a slightly smaller particle size compared to those 2. And so does Not a Villain. And these are just so shiny, and none of them feel squishy or anything like that. And this shade, I can tell, definitely is going to stain, just the way that it is. It actually reminds me of the shade Maya from the newly revamped Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics. Very similar in the way that there is a base to it, and then the sparkles kind of sit on top. And it's got like that pink base to it that stains, so definitely something to, just wanted to mention that in case you don't want staining. And then look at these. And this one is a multi-chrome. And Indecisive is just super ultra dimensional. I'm going to show you a close-up, but it is ultra beautiful topper-like shadow. I definitely have a couple of shadows in mind to compare to that one. So you can see it's like literally a party rainbow. It's almost holographic, but not actually holographic. The hollow particles in Not a Villain are slightly larger and kind of, they're not even throughout. So they're a little bit more sporadic, but you can kind of see the vibrancy of like the green and the red in this shade versus this one. It's like a aqua blue and pink. So that's the distinction between the hollow and the non-hollow. And then the shade is just so sparkly. These are the Morally Grey collection highlighters, Skin of a Killer, which this shade is an eyeshadow from the Vamp palette, and this is Morally Grey. And I'm going to kind of blend them out a little bit, so you can get a little bit more of an idea. Actually, this one's really opaque. These are super wet looking, really shiny. I think these would make also amazing eyeshadows. Like really beautiful one and done eyeshadows. So pretty. Onto the Smitten palette, I'm going to swatch these 3 at a time. So there's Floofy, Love Bite, and Hysterical. Love the name, super cute. None of these feel emollient or squishy, and Floofy is super smooth and metallic. It does pick up a little bit, almost kind of powdery, but it does not feel powdery at all. And as you can see, I have a little bit of that stain from the shade from the Morally Grey palette. And this is so pretty. And this shade reminds me of one of the shades from the Morally Grey palette. Again, it has the pinky base. I think this one's a little bit more mauve-y though, and it has a little bit of a different reflect to it. And it's ultra sparkly. Definitely recommend a tacky primer with that one. And this one is so ultra dimensional, a bunch of different colorful flecks throughout this one, but it is definitely heavily icy. And here's a close-up of that shade. Next three shades are Persuasive, Catastrophe, and Biscuits. And these all have a larger particle size, and Persuasive has just a bunch of different sparkles throughout it. It looks a little bit more like an iridescent shade. And then Catastrophe is just like a beautiful aqua with a pale yellow, almost golden reflect to it. And then Biscuits is a super smoky purple, very cool tone with a bit of a black base to it. Love this shade right here. Reminds me a little bit of Indecisive from the Morally Grey palette. So I'm gonna compare those for sure. Catastrophe and Biscuits are very, very opaque, and they do completely smooth out. I feel like maybe ever so slightly a tiny bit of grittiness in Biscuits, but they are very, very smooth. Love that none of these are overly flaky in texture. And then here's a close-up of this one. So it's predominantly got like aqua and bright pink with a bit of a bluish base. So for comparison, top is Morally Grey palette. Complex Motivations, here is Love Bite from the Smitten palette. Here is Indecisive from the Morally Grey palette, and Persuasive from the Smitten palette. So you can see between these two, Complex Motivations is definitely darker and it's got a little bit of a different, more vibrant tone to it. But they do have a very similar texture. And then Indecisive actually has like a yellowy base to it. It's really interesting. While Persuasive, definitely similar kind of idea. However, it is more of a cool tone blue, more of like an icy blue almost. And then for close up, here are the single shadows from the Smitten collection. So there's Stray Cat, Bitten, Alley Cat, and Smitten. And these two shades are more smooth, a little bit drier to the touch, while these two have a little bit larger particle size, especially Stray Cat, and both of these are a little bit more on the squishy side. Look at this one, it's so shifty. I'm like, I can't wait to use this on the lid. This is such an interesting shadow. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. And this one is basically like, it's not the most metallic, it's just, it has a lot of sparkles throughout it, which is so beautiful. And then this one is just super, super smooth, really punchy and vibrant, kind of pink. But again, Stray Cat, I mean, oh my gosh. There's so much happening. It's like flashing like bright orange almost. And then it has a tealish base. And then it shifts like all the colors all the way to like super bright, almost neon green. I see some aqua in there as well, and gold. So beautiful. So it's kind of like two multi-chromes and then two shimmer duochromes. So I'm going to be combining the Cleona quads together for one look. And I really want to use the green shimmer shade and then also the gold. It just looks so metallic. I'm so excited. Picking up this green, and it's going to go on the outer corner. It does seem as these are the same formula, of course, from the newly re-released, semi-new at this point, Archeo 3 palettes. I love that these have the mini pans in them. So I feel like this shade is pretty light. I feel like I'm trying to build it up a little bit. I want to see. I feel like it does look darker in the pan. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit darker, but it doesn't seem like it is. And then I wiped off the brush and I'm picking up this shade. And that's going to go kind of right into that shade. And I'm only going to bring it about halfway in from the outer corner inwards. Just a little bit. I do wish the green was just a little bit darker. Maybe it's the primer. I've used the Ulta primer, but I don't know. I feel like it looks very light. And I'm picking up the peach, and I'm gonna put that on the inner crease. And I'm just gonna make sure that I'm not blending it in with the green, of course. So I'm just really carefully placing it in here. Using the Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer. And I'm just gonna put that on the lid and of course tap it out. And I'm picking up this green shadow with the collab brush from me and Cleona's collab. And I'm just gonna pop that kind of going halfway from the center out into the outer corner. And then same brush picking up the gold. And I'm gonna pop that on the inner corner. Oh yeah, these are nice and smooth and metallic and punchy. I think these pair nicely together for this look. I just do wish, I think I'm gonna bring the green out into the corner a bit more. I'm gonna finish off the lower lash line with the orangey shade. The shade, I wish there was shade names in the palettes like on the back of them because they only came on the outer sleeves and I don't really keep the outer sleeves. I'm just gonna go in with the green underneath my lower lash line. I feel like it's kind of blending away. I will have to test this green out some more. Maybe on top of something more like the Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer. Because that one's going to have a bit more stick to it. But this is seeming to, oh yeah, this is like blending away. So maybe it's also, the issue is my lower lash line. Maybe it's just not working out. So I'm just going to bring that in. And I'm kind of winging it out actually. Kind of like a happy accident, little wing action underneath the eye, wing action. And I want to bring in the red. I think I'm going to pick up same brush from the Cleona and my collab, and I'm picking up the red. And I'm going to mist my brush with just some water, and I'm going to pop that over the red. Oh yeah, that was a good call. I love that. Love that. And here's the finished look. Look with the Morally Gray palette. Prime with the Natasha Denona shadow primer. Picking up shades of gray, and I'm gonna focus that on the outer corner. And I'm just gonna slowly kind of bring it in just a little bit, not adding any more. And just blending outwards in slightly kind of triangular shape. Like that. And I'm taking Not a Hero. And I'm deepening this up and I'm putting it kind of on an angle. And then wiping off the brush so I have nothing on it so that I'm just blending out the pigment that's on my skin. And just bringing that up and out. I'm gonna go in with just a tiny bit more. Just really smoking this out. Loving the way that looks. Oh, that is such a nice blend. That was pretty easy too. So next I'm going to use like a flatter type of brush, something like this one. This one is from Hakuhodo. And I'm going to pick up Moral Compass. And I'm going to use it to kind of create a highlight here, like a really soft transition. Almost kind of the illusion of it being a cut crease, but it isn't because it's just matte eyeshadow being pat down. I'm going to create kind of like a rounded shape up here, bringing it above my hood. You could totally leave the look like this, and I think that would be beautiful. But of course we got to use one of the shimmers. I want to use all the shimmers. I'm going to use Indecisive. I'm just going to use my finger because I just want to tap it. I just want to tap it just so lightly. Just like a ethereal rainbow sparkle. That looks amazing. Oh my god. Oh my god, I love this. Wait, hold on. That looks so cool. I'm gonna fix the outer corner since I got a little carried away and I kind of carried the shimmer out here, but I don't want it there for this look. So I'm just gonna blend those sparkles away to the best of my ability, but look at that. Oh my god. Finishing the look with Not a Hero underneath my lower lash line, just slightly connecting it down here. I really, like, this is a look I want to recreate. Like, immediately after this, I need to wear this somewhere. And then I'm going to take Ambivalence and I'm going to put it underneath the lower lash line. It is a very, 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 very kind of translucent almost. It's taking quite a bit of building up. I don't really think it's showing up too much. And then I'm going to take Moral Compass and I'm just going to pop that in here. And here's a closer look. Magical, different sparkles throughout it. So sparkly, love this shade. Onto the look with the Smitten palette. I'm taking Catnap and I'm gonna put that onto the outer corner and connect it with my lower lash line. And I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit, but trying not to take it too far in. And then just blending it outwards. I did prime with the Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer. I'm gonna take a little bit more here. And then I'm taking Perhaps, and it's gonna deepen out this outer corner. And of course connect it a little bit to the lower lash line as well. And I'm just really trying to keep it focused on this outer corner. So I'm just kind of packing it down first, and I'm gonna go back to the other smaller but slightly fluffier brush that I used for Catnap, and I'm just gonna start blending it out. And I'm really trying to blend it up this way so that I don't drag down my eye. I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit more Perhaps. I'm just gonna bring it out a little bit. And then I'm gonna wipe off this brush and take Catnap. Just a little bit of that, and again, just blending up and out. And then taking a clean brush with just some translucent setting powder. And I'm just gonna go over the edges of that. And I picked up Formidable, and it's gonna go on the inner half of my crease. Just kind of blending it up and connecting it in the center with the purpley shade, the plum shade. And then I'm gonna use the Stick and Sparkle Pigment Primer. And this one has quite a bit of a large doe foot, so it is something you're gonna wanna pick that up with a brush. I'm just using this Cleona brush. And I'm just gonna tap it essentially everywhere where I wanna put down the shimmer shadow. And I'm just gonna tap it out just to make sure I didn't put on too much, since this is like the second time I'm using this primer. And I'm just gonna tap on Hysterical. This shade is so beautiful. It's just literally like galaxy, ethereal galaxy, but if you were to layer this over a darker shadow, it would be like a galaxy in an eyeshadow. I mean, this is so stunning. And then on the inner corner, I'm going to take Persuasive, and I'm just going to sweep this up just a little bit and then bring it up into that shade. Just going to go back in with a little bit more, and I'm going to tap a little bit more Hysterical. And just make sure that those are blended together. And I mean, oh my gosh, those are so pretty together. And here's the finished look. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do dedicated videos with each of these collections. It's just there's a lot coming in, and I really wanted to also catch up on some videos that I've been really wanted to do in January. So this video is more like a first impressions video. I do have quite a bit of experience with all the different products from these three brands for the past couple years. The most experience I have is definitely with these quads, because I did a little BYOP where I actually put these mattes in with my Light Scatters palette, which is video is going up. I believe it's going to be up this Friday. I love that they launched these little quads. I would definitely love to see them do more like this, and I do really like that these are more on the affordable side. Of course, you're not getting a Cleona multi-chrome, so maybe I would like to see next time maybe there's one in here. I also filmed a reel with this one, so stay tuned for that. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea. These mattes are definitely on par with the Archeo, Paleo, and Oceano palette. They're kind of loosely pressed. They have quite a bit of kick up, and they're very, very pigmented. It is not my preferred type of formula. I find it just a little bit harder to work with. I find it that if you use too much and you layer too much, it does kind of tend to sometimes blend away, but that's just my personal experience and my personal preference in terms of what I like in a matte formula. And I've tried so many matte formulas at this point, so I kind of know exactly what I gravitate towards. So I think the mattes are nice, but they're just not my favorite. I think the shimmers are beautiful Cleona quality. They're all very smooth, and I think they're going to be very easy to use with a brush, on top of a primer, without a primer. They're just so beautiful, and they just have that beautiful Cleona shine. Really love what Bella Beaute Bar did with this collection, the Morally Gray. I do believe it's kind of like based, it has some references to some like books that are like romance books. I don't read romance books, so I don't really get these references, but I do believe that this is what this is based off of vaguely. So if you want more detail on that, check out their Instagram. I do believe that there's going to be other people that do read romance books that are probably going to explain that a little bit better than me, but I love this theme. I think it's really cute. Again, it's not like Valentine's Day hitting you over the face with it, just pink eyeshadow and will you be mine. I love that it's a little bit more kind of nuanced Valentine's Day theme, so I really enjoy it. I love Skin of a Killer. I've already raved about that shade. I'm not sure if they still sell the 26mm single from the Vamp palette or not, but this could be a great option. You could use this as highlighter. You could use this all over the lid. I mean, this is so stunning, like super beautiful kind of shade, really beautiful formula as well. Like whatever they're doing there with the pigment, amazing. Give me like 15 of them. And then this other shade, I haven't used this one on the cheeks yet, but I think this will make an amazing eyeshadow. I really am itching to do this one on the eyes for sure. Onto the eyeshadow palette. Of course, Bella Beaute Bar knocks it out of the park with the color story, and the shimmers in here are so beautiful. So just very special, especially Indecisive. I also really love Bittersweet. Complex Motivations is the one that has the largest texture in here. Definitely recommend a tacky primer with this one for sure, especially if you have hooded lids. You're going to probably get a little bit of fallout throughout the day and also during applications. I think the hollow shadow down here will be perfect for a super smoky kind of date night vibe with the hollow effect, of course. I didn't notice when I was first doing swatches to take photos of, and then for this video, that Moral Compass and Mixed Feelings swatched pretty, like they're really hard pressed and they took quite a bit of building up. They're definitely more on the sheer side, so I do want to try those out some more on some other eyeshadow primer, but really enjoying this palette. I love this color story. Again, cooler tone, color story, super cute. As for the heart-shaped pans, I do kind of hope to see that they do their standard 26mm round pans. And lastly, the Smitten palette, again, super cute theming. I didn't know about this palette ahead of time, and I was just like, Monica, you are brilliant. I mean, these themes that she comes up with is just amazing. She told me her vision. She told me exactly what she wanted to do. And so I did work on the packaging, which is what you're saying, the little illustrations of the kitties. Love it so much. It's super cute. And then on the inside, we do have some surprise paw prints. I'm not sure if it's going to capture on camera, but I love that they're kind of just like depressed into it. And they're just kind of little tiny surprise. They do have almost like a little bit of a very light pink kind of reflect in them. So these are, the names are so cute. I think it's a really nice variety. You have a magenta and also a bright pink, but then you have a mauve and then like almost like a grayish plum shade, and then like a true plum shade, like a really like eggplant type of shade actually, and then a gray. And I feel like this color story is just so beautiful. And the shimmers in here, these are some of my favorite shimmers they've done. I love that none of these are squishy, and I think Hysterical and Persuasive are so special. I think this is some of my favorite shimmers they've ever launched. These two shades alone, so spectacular. I hope that they release them as single eyeshadows as well, and of course the rest of the shades are really beautiful as well. However, these two, those are like the unique ones. And I forgot to mention the mattes are really pigmented so far, so I'm for sure going to be dipping some more into this one. As for these single eyeshadows, I haven't used them yet, so stay tuned for a reel for sure. But there is one shade here that really stands out to me, and that is Stray Cat. This is just something else. This is so shifty, but like really unique types of shifts. It's literally one of the most shifty shades I think I've ever seen. It is so beautiful. I cannot wait to see what this one looks like on the lid and what kind of mattes I'm going to pair with this one. And then there's one shade called Alley Cat. This one's not necessarily like super metallic and shifty. This is more of a satin with like pink flecks throughout it. And then the pink shade Smitten is also really punchy kind of pink shade. Smitten is a beautiful pinky peach, super metallic. Stray Cat and Bitten are a little bit on the squishy side, so I will definitely have to try these out. But the other two shades are not. And the Stick and Sparkle primer, I will have to let you know and keep you updated. I haven't done a wear test of this one yet, but I can tell from the texture of this one, if you have hooded lids, you want to make sure that it dries down and sets down before you open your lids after you apply eyeshadow. Otherwise, you're going to probably immediately kind of crease. It does have a little bit of work time before it sets down. So let me know in the comments below if any of these launches piqued your interest. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you love sparkly, shiny, shifty eyeshadows, indie makeup, then definitely check out some of my other videos that will be up on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.